So as we've been saying this morning, today marks 50 years ago since the Stonewall riots, a movement that really changed so much. For City Council Speaker Corey Jodnson, it was reading about that rich history that gave him the courage as a high school football player to come out. It was not an easy road, and we went back to the Stonewall to talk about his past and the future that lies ahead. He's known to bust a move and rock a jump split during city parades. If you didn't know, City Council Speaker Corey Jodnson is openly gay and the only HIV-positive elected official in New York, who, like so many, is looking forward to celebrating Pride weekend.
I think the city's going to come alive. It's World Pride, which is the first time World Pride has been hosted in the United States of America.
Corey sat down with me inside the historic Stonewall Inn, where 50 years ago the flame was lit for the modern LGBT civil rights movement in America.
Many of them were transgender women of color. Many of them were people that had been marginalized and oppressed and harassed and targeted systemically by the police and by government for years and years and years.
It was that brave groundwork that inspired a 16-year-old high school football player from Boston to open up and come out.
And I grew depressed, despondent, and eventually suicidal. It was in 1999. Marriage equality didn't exist anywhere in the United States of America.
He says his parents were the easy part, immediately accepting him. Then came his grandfather.
He says, you can be gay. You just can never be a Republican or vote for a Republican. You're good in my book.
And eventually, his entire team.
Someone raised their hand and said, Corey, you're our friend. You're a good football player. That's really all that matters.
And did you feel a weight lifted off your shoulders?
It was like an anvil had been lifted off of me because I had, for years, felt so scared and fearful and like people were going to find the secret out.
Fast forward a few years, Jodnson dropped out of college and headed to the place that inspired him to come out, New York City. But
it's not easy to move here at 19 years old.
So he got a job at ABC Carpet as a salesman.
I didn't enjoy it. I wasn't great at it.
When at 22, he got news that would forever change his life.
Ended up finding out through a routine physical examination at my doctor that I was HIV positive, and about 2 weeks after I lost my job, and I then lost my health insurance. I spent basically 5 years self-medicating and covering up the shame and remorse and sadness.
Covering it up with what?
I was covering it up with alcohol, I was covering it up with cocaine. Just a couple of months after my 27th birthday, I was lucky enough to get sober.
He decided that would not define him.
Hi, my name is Corey Jodnson.
In the years after, Corey became a community board member, a city councilman, and now speaker, looking to fight for all New Yorkers and the LGBTQ community. Just weeks ago, he called for the NYPD to apologize for what happened inside Stonewall.
The actions taken by the NYPD were wrong, plain and simple.
I thought it was very significant. And what we've seen over the last few years is a real targeting of the LGBT community, the transgender military ban, continued discrimination against gay couples and gay families across the country. And so there's still a huge amount of work to be done.
And so as the city approaches World Pride Day.
So it's celebrating, but it's also taking stock in the progress that we've still yet to make in our society and even in our city.
And Mr. Jodnson gets ready for some more jumps. He's not shy or bashful about one more thing, looking for love.
So who is Prince Charming for Corey?
I want a husband. I want love. And I don't know, I have a Hinge profile. And for me, I want someone sweet and smart and kind and independent and someone who loves life.
Says he got that Hinge profile after he saw Mayor Pete, who's running for president, find his husband on it. I also asked Mr. Jodnson, does he see himself as a role model, inspiration for the youth of today? He said it's really hard to think that way, but he does hope that anyone hearing his story is inspired in some way, the same way he was when reading about those who took part in the Stonewall history. So he has quite the journey along the way, but he wanted to show the youth of today that you can also do it.